Earth signs don't rush. They don't rush. Even Capricorn, the one that is, responsible and career oriented, they don't like to rush because they like to do their best work, right? Although they're a cardinal sign and they like to keep it moving and keep it pushing, they don't like to rush too much because when you rush, you make a lot of mistakes. What's good, guys? How you doing today? How you doing on this lovely Thursday on the last day of October? Oh, it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. What are you guys dressing up as? Are you dressing up? I feel like I like to live vicariously through people's costumes on social media. People are getting more and more creative every day. But yeah, it's freaking Halloween. When you're watching this, I'll probably be at a concert. I'm going to a concert with Maya on Halloween. We're seeing Kaytranada, and I'm so excited. That's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna be a vampire because I am obsessed with vampires. Any sort of vampire show, movie, I'm in it. Whether it's a cringe fest like Twilight or, an actual scary vampire movie. Interview with a Vampire. Oh, so good. I'm into that shit. Okay, I kind of want to start this off with a vent session about the book I'm reading because, it's Scorpio season and I feel like I want to talk about what I am feeling passionate about, which is how I live every day. But because it's Scorpio season, I feel like there's a general oomph in the things that I feel passionate about, which is the book I'm reading. I'm reading this book, this series actually called Magnolia Parks. That's the name of the series. I'm on the third book in the series, and genuinely, if someone were to ask me what kind of book is it, I wouldn't even be able to fucking tell you what kind of book it is because it's confusing the fuck out of me. Clearly, I like it if I'm on the third book, but I can't even call it a romance novel. I can't even call it romance. To me, it's a thriller. Now, would they even say that? Would they say that in the genre or the whatever of the book? Would they say it's a thriller? No, they wouldn't. They probably do call it a romance. But when I tell you the relationships in this book are pissing me off, like the dynamic of the people, their general, their ways of living and how they operate in relationships, it's pissing me the fuck off. It's essentially about this group of 20-something-year-olds that have known each other since they were kids and like their dynamics with each other, like the couples within that group. There's like cheating, there's like scandal, there's betrayal. And I just feel like I am so anxious whenever I'm reading this book, and it pisses me off because I'm like, why am I reading it? But it's so good. It's so good, but it's hurting me. Like, it's truly hurting me reading this book and seeing the way these people treat each other to the point where, you guys, I genuinely have to sit there and tell myself it's just a book. It's not real. It's not real. Which like defeats the whole purpose of like being so into your book where you get lost in it and you're like lost in this story. And I am, but I kind of have to like pull myself out of it whenever it gets too intense or sad because I feel myself getting so angry and so annoyed to the point where I need a break from my book. You know what I mean? Like usually you are reading to get a break from your life, right? Like that is what most people consider reading to be. Like you can really just get lost in a story and, take a break from your life. I need a break from my book. You know what I mean? I really need a break from my book. And it's just insane because clearly I'm going to finish the whole series, but I am feeling a lot of things. So if you're looking for a story that will piss you off, but it's filled with tea and drama and it's just juicy, like it's just so juicy. Every freaking chapter, I'm like, huh? Who? Where? Why? And I'm still back. Once I take a little break and I'm like, fuck these people, I come back and I'm like, but let me know what happened next, because I'm here. So that is my recommendation to you, book recommendation to you, Magnolia Parks. But beware, buyer beware, that this ain't your average love story, and they're going to piss you off. But I will say the character development is really, really nice. And it's a slow build in terms of like the character development because people are still going to be pissing you off. But I can only imagine like towards the end of the series how good it's going to feel when people come together and when they're healing their trauma and all that jazz. Honestly, it's like a really, really good book to read just in terms of like mental health and stuff like that too, because you're really getting to know the inner workings of these characters and why they make these bad decisions. And a lot of times when we're watching a show or a movie or reading a book, it's really easy to be like, that is so the obvious choice. Like, why are you making this wrong decision? What's wrong with you? But, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I've made some really bad mistakes in my past. I think this author does a really good job of just keeping it 100% real in terms of, the mistakes that you make in your 20s and the mistakes that you make when your feelings are hurt, when you're operating from a place of heartbreak and ego, a lot of big egos in this book, and it gets them in a lot of trouble. So if you're looking for a juicy novel, a juicy series that is going to make you mad and, sad and happy and all of the things, start Magnolia Parks. Okay, so I was thinking about all the signs and I was thinking about all the elements, right? And I was thinking about what each element in the zodiac is good for in terms of advice. Like, what kind of advice would you go to fire signs for? What kind of advice would you go to water signs for? So I feel like that would be like a fun conversation for us to have together. So let's just do it. Okay, let's start off with water signs. I feel like when it comes to water signs, the advice that you would go to for Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio would be anything obviously that has to do with matters of the heart. If you're feeling big feelings, if you're feeling like you're not being understood and your feelings are being misunderstood, I feel like that is the best time to go to a water sign placement or a water sign friend, because no feeling is too much for water signs. We have seen it all, felt it all. We have taken it too far when it comes to feelings, and usually you don't need to explain why you feel a certain way to us. You just tell us you feel this way, and we're just there to listen to you and tell you about a time that we felt this way and how we were able to overcome it. Or we'll just sit there with you while you feel this feeling. We're not going to give you like advice as to how to overcome it or why you should think about this logically and why you should take action, you know what I mean, to rid yourself of this feeling. Like, for the most part, I feel like with Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, when you are talking to us about your feelings, we understand that it's like a very personal thing. And it's really, really easy, I feel like, to go to other people and express your feelings and for them to maybe tell you that you don't get to feel that, or that doesn't make sense why you feel that, and that makes you want to retreat. And I feel like even as a Scorpio, when I go to Cancer and Pisces, that is when my feelings feel the most validated. And that is when I feel like I can truly just express myself without feeling like I'm being judged for how much my feelings are taking over, right? Obviously, the older I am, like, I don't care. Like, if I have big feelings, I have big feelings. But I will say, I feel like when I was younger and I felt feelings and I wanted to express it to certain people, I almost felt like they're going to judge me for feeling a certain way towards a situation. Like, let's say if you're angry towards something, right? You almost feel like, oh, I'm embarrassed that this thing made this reaction come out of me, right? Like, if I show them that I'm angry, it means that I care too much. So I should just like tone it back. And I feel like when you go to a water sign, they'll let you know, hey, like, you can feel this feeling. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like this forever, right? And it's because water signs are so emotional and we're constantly feeling so many things that, like, you feeling one feeling right now, it doesn't mean that that is your whole entire identity, right? You can feel something and let it go. You can feel something and let it go. Like, one of my favorite pieces of art, I'm going to post it here. I have it. I'm looking at it actually right now in my room. It says, treat emotions like visitors who are just passing through. I think a lot of people would do well to take that advice. I know I do. That's why I have it in my room, because as a water sign, I can get lost in my feelings often, and I can make a certain feeling my entire identity for a day, for a week, for a year. Like, you can really just let it ruminate and make it your entire identity. And then now you're just lost in this feeling. And the thing is, feelings are never going to stop, ever. And what you need to do in order to have a healthier relationship with your feelings is to understand that it's temporary, And although some feelings feel stronger than others, and you feel the physical effect of it on your body more than others, you just have to remind yourself that it's temporary. Like, this feeling is just a reaction to something that is happening to me. Therefore, I'm feeling this feeling, but that doesn't mean that it's taking a permanent residence in my body, in my life, in my soul. You can feel this thing and have the understanding that it's leaving soon. And I think when you understand that feelings can be temporary, it almost puts less pressure on you, because you're telling yourself, like, although this is a really intense feeling, it doesn't mean it's going to be my feeling forever and that it's going to stay here forever and I need to, make it my friend forever. Like, no, like, this feeling will pass, it will go through. And although it's feeling really intense right now, even just heartbreak, that's like probably the hardest feeling to go through, all the feelings that come up during heartbreak. You reminding yourself that this is temporary and that you're going to get through it is going to make you feel better. But usually with your first heartbreak, it's the hardest one, right? Because you've never gotten through it before. And because you've never gotten through it before, you almost don't believe anyone when they tell you, hey, you can get through this. Hey, you're going to come out of the other side. But when you go through heartbreak the first time and then you have other heartbreaks after, although they'll be hard, they will never be as hard as your first heartbreak, because you got through your first heartbreak, so you know that it was temporary, So I think that is something that we can all learn to consider when we're dealing with feelings and heavy emotions, that, it's all temporary. It's all temporary. Okay, next, I'm going to talk about earth signs. Now, what do we go to earth signs for? What kind of advice do we go to earth signs for? The best advice that earth signs will give you have to do with feeling grounded and taking some sort of control and order back in your life, right? When you look at Virgo and Taurus and Capricorn, most of these people are very much routine oriented and they're very grounded, right? Hence being earth signs. And I think when your life is, let's say, filled with chaos and there is no order and you just don't feel grounded, right? That is the best time to go to your earth sign friends, because earth signs are also very simple. They like to keep things simple. That's how they stay grounded. When you're chaotic and all over the place, you're the opposite of simple, right? Like, you're thinking about 10 different things at once. You're stressed about 500 different things. And it's really, really hard for you to ground yourself, right? And I think when you look at earth signs, they have this ability to simplify their life and focus on the things that they can control and focus on the things that, help them feel grounded. And I think your earth sign friends are the best type of people to sit with, and you're venting, you're saying what you're going through, and your earth sign friend will humble you and let you know, hey, like, this is what you're doing wrong. You need to get rid of this. You need to prioritize this. They're also really good at prioritizing. I feel like earth signs, they know what they want and that's what they stick to. And a lot of times they just don't get distracted easily, right? Earth signs are really, really good, like I said, at prioritizing and knowing what works. They don't like to get distracted. They like their routine. And if you are someone who is easily distracted and who is also rushing, that is when earth sign energy will help you. Earth signs don't rush. They don't rush. Even Capricorn, the one that is, responsible and career oriented, they don't like to rush because they like to do their best work, right? Although they're a cardinal sign and they like to keep it moving and keep it pushing, they don't like to rush too much, because when you rush, you make a lot of mistakes. That's something that a lot of earth signs understand. And honestly, even though Virgo can be a little bit neurotic and they can kind of be all over the place when it comes to their schedule, they still have some sort of order in the way that they do things. And I think one of the things I really value about earth signs is that nothing and no one can rush them. You know what I mean? Although maybe Capricorn and Virgo have a sense of urgency, they're not rushing themselves. And that's something that a lot of the other signs in the zodiac needs to understand, is that if you are someone who rushes a lot, that is because you are always stressed and you're always thinking that you're running out of time. You know what I mean? If you're living in the state of, oh, I'm running out of time, I don't have enough time, you're always go rushing, right? And that's just not a good place to be also for your nervous system. You're just not operating at your best. A rushed decision is not a good decision. And I think earth signs really understand that, and that's how they lead their life, and that's how they're able to also stay grounded, right? If you're someone that wants to be more grounded, reach out to your earth sign friends and get advice from them. You know what I mean? Why is it that they're able to be less rushed? And that is, an energy that they're just born with. Obviously, your whole entire birth chart matters. If you're someone that has a lot of air sign placements and not any earth, I would understand why you have a difficulty being grounded, because your head is in the air, you're always just in la la land. The earth signs very much feel connected to the earth around them and also to what their body needs. At their highest vibration, all three earth signs are very much in tune with what their body needs, and they're not ones to rush anything that they're doing because they want to make sure they do it right the first time. Okay, next we have air signs. What would you go to your air sign friends for in terms of advice? What you would go to your air signs for is any sort of communication advice, right? If you have certain ideas and you don't know how to express them, if you are someone that gets, social anxiety, air sign friends are the ones that are going to be able to help you out with that. Air signs understand the value of communication and also value the importance of over communication. They are some of the easiest people to talk to, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. And it's because no idea is left untouched. You know what I mean? Like, they're not in their head about what they want to say, how they want to say it. If they are thinking something, they say it out loud and they communicate it with the people around them. And I think a lot of us that are non-air sign placements can learn from them. And that's how they're also able to move freely, I feel like, around the world. When you think of air signs and their ability to just move around, talk to different people, move on, air signs are really good at moving on. If, if their feelings get hurt, blah, 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 they can move on like that. And that is also, I feel like, because they're so light, because they're always communicating. If you're someone that is keeping a lot of their feelings in and is not stating how they feel, isn't sharing their opinion on a certain subject, is always in their head about what they want to say, you kind of feel heavy, You do feel heavy because you have a lot of feelings, you have a lot of thoughts, you have a lot of opinions, but you're scared of sharing them. And that makes you feel very, very heavy. And I feel like air signs, the reason they're, such light-hearted individuals is because whenever they're feeling something, whenever they have a certain idea, they're not judging themselves before they say it. They just say it. And I think a lot of actually social anxiety comes from obviously feeling like you're going to be judged for what you say, how you say it, how it'll be received. And I think air sign individuals, they don't care about that. Like, it's just not something that they consider because they're, such communicative people. They can easily share, no matter who the audience is, their opinions. And they're also very open-minded with the way that people communicate and how they communicate and, what they're learning. They're open-minded to new information as well, even though Aquarius is also, is a fixed sign. And I always talk about how Aquarius can be stubborn when it comes to their ideas, but they're still ruled, by Uranus, the planet of surprise. So they very much are open-minded when it comes to learning new information. And we already know that Libra loves to connect with people. And if you're into a subject, Libra's into it too, and they want to learn from you and they want to make you feel safe when you're talking to them about it. And Gemini, as we already know, is like the funnest person to talk to, and you never really know where the conversation will go if a Gemini placement is in the room. So I think a lot of people that maybe deal with any sort of like social anxiety or inability to communicate their ideas, that's where you should go to your air sign friends, because air signs just can easily communicate their ideas no matter who their audience is. And that's advice that I think everyone would do well to learn from. Okay, and finally we have our fire signs. What I would go to fire sign placements for in terms of advice would be any sort of motivational advice, any sort of, if you're feeling like a little lost in the world and you don't really know what it is that you need to go after, or you're not feeling motivated, right? I feel like fire signs just have that energy. They have that energy when it comes to their own life, and they have that energy when it comes to the other people in their life. Fire signs can really speak to your soul, and all for different reasons. You know what I mean? Aries being that first sign of the Zodiac and being Mars ruled, Aries is very self-motivated. and they don't like to take no for an answer. So if you have an Aries friend, they're the best person to go to when you feel like you are not motivated to keep going. If you're feeling insecure, if you don't believe in yourself, Aries will be the first person to remind you who you are and remind you why you're doing what you're doing, right? Aries just has so much energy and they believe in you. That is the thing with all fire signs. They believe in you. If you have a fire sign placement friend, they believe in you. And Leos are obviously known for like banking on themselves and believing in themselves as well. But Leos are the most generous people when it comes to their friends and their partners and their family members. Leos will be your number one supporter. Granted, they expect that of you, obviously, because Leo's a star, but they also want to show up for their friends and believe in them. They will put that light under your ass and see you in ways that you don't even see yourself. And Sagittarius obviously being also ruled by the ninth house is all about higher education and, philosophy. Sagittarius will be the one to show you a whole new way of life. They will change your viewpoint of life. They will show you the bird's eye view of life and how you've been missing out and why, you've been so closed off and what you've been missing out on. Like Sagittarius will open up so many doors for you. Not even maybe like literal doors, like in terms of like opportunity, maybe they will too, but in terms of your mind's doors, Sagittarius is so good at opening up your mind and making you see yourself in a whole new light. And that's how I feel about all of the fire signs, is that they are such motivated people and they will show you the doors that will open up for you when you are motivated and why you need to try in life and why you have to keep going. Fire signs will get your energy up. All right, they really, really will. And if you're feeling down in the dumps in terms of life and why you feel like it's not going the way that you want, fire signs will show you, hey, like the doors are not closed. You have so many other doors that you can open. And just because this thing didn't work out doesn't mean something else won't work out. They're very, very positive in terms of opportunity and getting what you want out of life. On another note, I have a show recommendation for you guys. If you're into any sort of like sci-fi, horror, mystery, this is the show for you. It is called The Edge of Sleep. It's on Amazon Prime. It is so good. It's so good. Let me tell you what the concept is. Essentially, it's about this world. All of a sudden, people that fell asleep the night before, they died. So if you fell asleep the night before, everyone in the world died. And it's about the people that didn't sleep the night before, whether it was, they were working or they were on drugs. Like those people didn't die, but they woke up to a world where everyone else that fell asleep did die. And it kind of ties into this cult and your subconscious and your dream state. It is so, so, so interesting and so different than anything else I've ever seen. If you're into any sort of like cult shows, this will be the one for you. I feel like it's the perfect show for spooky season, for Scorpio season. And like I said, the concept is so different than anything else that I've seen. And I think you guys will really, really enjoy it. And I really, really like all the characters. Like they have the perfect amount of like humor in between all the serious shit, which is what I look for in any sort of like horror show. Like I want a couple of characters that can like, bring the mood back up once in a while. And it very much has that. So if you're looking for a new show, check out The Edge of Sleep on Amazon Prime. I saw this post and it's perfect because I said I was going to be a vampire for Halloween. And the post said, I don't do flings. I devote myself to someone for centuries like a vampire. I felt seen. And I was like, which Venus signs is this? Which Venus sign? Obviously it's Scorpio. Obviously it's Taurus. I would even say it's Cancer and Capricorn too. What do you guys think? I think these 4 Venus signs are very much the ones that like to stick with the person that they love forever. I'm not saying all the other Venus signs aren't loyal, but I'm saying these Venus signs get obsessed. Obviously, for good reason, Scorpio Venus is here because I feel like as a Scorpio Venus, don't you worry. Scorpio Venus video is coming up soon. I feel like Scorpio Venuses become obsessed with their people. They become obsessed with, their person, not people, with their person. And once a Scorpio, Venus is in love, really, really, it's going to be very, very hard for them to get the ick. It's going to be very hard for them to suddenly fall out of love, or for them to, you know what I mean? Like, a Scorpio Venus will become obsessed with you and your entire life and your love story forever, forever. And same with Taurus Venus, you know? Taurus doesn't like to switch shit up. Like, if they feel like, if they decided, they trust themselves. They're like, if they decided that, listen, it's you and me, Taurus is with you for the long haul. It's a forever thing. It's a forever, ever, ever thing. Honestly, like, when I think of like Taurus, this has nothing to do with like Venus signs, but I think of like Chris Brown, right? Controversial. I'm just saying, like, I don't think he's a good guy, but you look at his chart, right? It's all Taurus placements, damn near. Because I'm pretty sure he's a Taurus stellium and he has a Taurus moon, if I remember correctly. The way people love him, the way people are obsessed with him, and I feel like that's the thing with Taurus energy. They're very much obsessive, but also they bring in people that are very much obsessed with them. So I feel like Taurus energy, it doesn't like to second guess itself when it comes to love. Like, when Taurus Venus falls in love and they choose a person, they're like, I trust myself. I have the absolute best judgment. So, you know, the fact that I picked you, it means that you're great for me and you're it for me, right? And the reason I feel like Capricorn Venus is also in this category is because Capricorn, obviously, Capricorn energy, it doesn't trust people easily. It takes a long time for Capricorn placements to open up to people. So I feel like if Capricorn Venus feels inclined to like settle down with someone, it means that they looked at this situation, at this relationship from every which angle, from every single angle, and they've decided, okay, this is the right path forward. So when Capricorn Venus has chosen you, it means that they trust you, they trust this decision, and it's a long-term decision, right? Again, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so they don't like to waste their time and they don't like to waste your time. So if a Capricorn Venus has chosen you, it means they've evaluated all the risks prior to, you know, being exclusive with you, prior to getting engaged with you, making you their girlfriend, making you their boyfriend. And once they've decided that they're in it with you, it's going to take something big for them to walk away, because obviously they'll also have to be surprised because they've already looked at the situation from every single angle to make sure that it's the right decision. So if something happens where they're surprised, they're obviously going to be angry with themselves, because Capricorn doesn't make quick decisions when it comes to love. And then obviously Cancer Venus, you know, Cancer Venus becomes obsessed with people just like Scorpio Venus does, you know? And I feel like Cancer Venus falls in deep, deep, deep love. And Cancer Venus is very nurturing, right? They almost have that love that a mother does. Like, they become like very much obsessed with taking care of you. And they want you to need them. That is something that Cancer Venus needs more than anything. They want to feel like their partner needs them. And they feel very much fulfilled when they're doing things for you that you should not be doing for yourself. Granted, maybe you can do those things for yourself, but it makes Cancer Venus feel very much fulfilled when they're needed, like a mother or a father. And Cancer Venus, they want to become irreplaceable in your life. And that is why I feel like they're also in this category, is because if they feel like you've formed this kind of connection where you need each other and, you know, you give each other what you can't give yourself, that is going to make Cancer Venus someone that, you know, you can't just get rid of easily in your life. Okay, I kind of wanted to talk about the Love is Blind this season, this current season that's airing, some of their zodiac signs. And I want you guys to remember, when I talk about these zodiac signs and these people, it's just for entertainment. Obviously, none of us, me or you, know these people in real life. We're going based off of what we're seeing online on the show. We don't really know the full details of anything. So based off of what I'm seeing and what I'm seeing on social media, that is how I'm basing a lot of my opinions off of, right? And I'm going to talk about maybe like some of the ones that I just stand out to me. So first we have Tyler, right? And Tyler is with Ashley. Tyler is a Libra and Ashley is an Aquarius. And when I, first saw, because there was this article that showed all their signs before the season, carried on and all the drama and the mess came out. I saw that Ashley and Tyler were compatible because he's a Libra, she's an Aquarius. I'm like, oh, how sweet, these two, air signs. And it seemed like they were communicating really effectively with each other. But then it came out that, all that drama came out about Tyler. So if you don't know, obviously it came out that, Tyler lied about the fact that he was a sperm donor. But then it came out that actually he is in the lives of these children. And he still played it off as like, I was just a sperm donor. But then the mother of these kids said no, like he's very much active in their lives, and there's pictures of him with the kids, and they spend holidays together. So it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And lies were told. And it pissed me off because I'm like, listen, this is what toxic Libras will do. I feel like toxic Libras are really good at playing the game and sharing certain truths, but mixing them with a little bit of a lie. So it can't really come back and be like, well, that was a complete lie, because there was some truth sprinkled in there. And I think that is something that Libras really excel at. That's probably why the Libra archetype, ties into the law and, legal matters, because Libra is really good at changing the verbiage of, a situation to suit them, to make themselves look like the good guy. And I feel like that is exactly what happened here. And we already know how Libras can be when they're not operating from a high vibration. Libras can be little hoes, you know what I mean? They can be little hoes. And they kind of have connections everywhere, and they can be friends with everybody. And, like most people, when they're caught cheating, they'll be like, oh, it was just a friend. But Libra just has a lot of friends. So you really never know where their loyalties lie, the toxic ones. You know what I mean? So I was actually not surprised when this stuff came out, because I'm like, oh my God, this gives messy Libra man energy. Because we already know that Libra men get along with everyone and anyone. And that can be a dangerous combination, getting along with anyone, being a man. And then, obviously we have Ashley, who is an Aquarius, and I feel so bad for her. I genuinely feel so bad for her because, throughout the season, she just seems like such a well-spoken, real-ass woman who really, truly wants that genuine love. And I feel like she was obviously blindsided because it came out like later in the process that he was a sperm donor, and he has, these kids out there. And I can just imagine how he kind of spinned it, because it's one thing to lie about it, and then it's one thing for it to come out and be like, okay, it's not just, you being a sperm donor. Like, these kids are in your life. And also it came out that he had deleted pictures with them on his socials before he came on the show. What I don't understand about people that go on reality TV is, we live in the age of technology and social media. You should know at this point that you have a digital footprint. If you're going to put yourself on any sort of public platform, understand that anything you've done, it will come back to haunt you. So you should just keep it real from the beginning. You know what I mean? Keep it real from the beginning so no one is surprised. And why not just lead with the truth? I don't understand this about people, is they lie, but they don't understand that when the truth comes out, you're going to have to deal with the mess anyway. So why not just deal with the mess, or deal with your truth, even if it's messy, from the beginning, and then work your way through it? Because then if you express your truth at the beginning, you give people the opportunity to tell you, I can work with that, or no, I can't work with that. And then you don't waste each other's times. But I think a lot of times people think that they can get away with shit and they can lie, but the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out. So Ashley being an Aquarius, it makes sense because she was able to keep her composure a lot of the time throughout this process. And when, certain lies came out, or when, she found out that he wasn't being completely honest about certain things, I was actually so surprised at how calm she was able to be. And, I haven't watched the reunion yet, so I'm filming this on Tuesday, and the reunion comes out on Wednesday. But it came out online that maybe, possibly, she's making some excuses for him, which I'm just not happy about. But I do think sometimes Aquarius placements can rationalize certain behaviors, and they're also really, really good at compartmentalizing. That's what I've noticed with Aquarius is, because they're also slow to get triggered and they're slow to process emotions. That's what makes them really, really good at compartmentalizing certain situations so they don't mix in with each other. And I don't know. I'm hoping that when the reunion comes, she will hold him accountable and be like, hey, like, you lied. This was a lie. Why did you feel the need to lie? But if they're very much in love and in la la land, as air signs can be, instead of dealing with the intensity of the lies that came out. And sometimes I feel like they like to put on a brave face. Like air signs like to put on a brave face. They're really good at not showing their real feelings and just like, laughing it off, or, making light of the situation and just being like, it's fine. But then probably behind closed doors is when those intense conversations are happening. Whereas I feel like with like water signs and fire signs, we cannot control the feelings that we're having, behind closed doors. It's going to come out also in front of everyone. And I feel like a lot of times in reality TV, fire and water signs, they're putting it all out on the table and they don't really care who's there. Whereas I feel like with earth signs and air signs, they're really good at portraying a unified front and not having those arguments in front of people, which some would say is a good thing. But as a viewer, I want you guys to have these conversations. You know what I mean? This is a show. Let me know how you came to be this peaceful together. Were the hard conversations happening? Were they happening, Libra, Aquarius? I need to know. The people need to know. Okay, so the other couple that got married, so only 2 couples got married this season. It was the last couple I talked about, and then it was Taylor and Garrett. They're the other couple that got married. So Taylor is a Pisces and Garrett is a Taurus. Another couple that is very, very much compatible. The issue I have with them is I'm very happy with the fact that they got married because they are very much compatible, right? But the thing is, they had some issues in terms of where they're going to live when they are together, right? This show is based in DC, but her family is in San Diego. And she talked about how when she has kids, she wants to obviously be back with her family to help, raise the family in San Diego, right? And he was kind of on and off about that. He kind of ultimately said that he is willing to do that, but it was kind of like, it almost felt like it was a tough decision. And I am cautious for her because she's a Pisces, right? And Pisces people, when they're in love, they have a really hard time setting boundaries. Pisces in general has a hard time setting boundaries because they're ruled by Neptune. So those lines can become very much blurred. Whereas Taurus, him being a Taurus is, they're the bull. They know what they want and this is how they're going to do it. And they can be very, very stubborn and set in their ways. So I'm very much concerned about her and if she is willing to stand her ground, And another thing that came out that bugged me is leading up to the weddings, I guess one of his ex-girlfriends reached out to him, right, on social media, and he lied about whether he responded, right? He said that he didn't. It came out that he did. And it really bugged me because why lie in the first place? And because he's a Taurus, he was really able to remain calm and, give her whatever validation she needed, right? To know that, hey, it was just a mistake. Like, I didn't mean to lie, blah, 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 right? And she was doing her Pisces thing of very much being in her feelings and feeling confused. Like, why would you do that? And then later that night, it came out that there was actually more to the story. And he didn't just like heart it. He like replied to it or some shit, right? Like there was more that came out about the way in which he replied. And then that made her even more sad. So that's another thing I'm concerned with. And I feel like Taurus and Pisces couples are very much compatible and I love seeing them together. But I do feel like if the Pisces isn't good at setting boundaries and isn't good at expressing what they need, the Taurus can very much take over the relationship and make all the rules in the relationship. You know what I mean? Another thing too is I feel like, obviously Pisceans are very emotional people and they love to express their feelings and they have a lot of feelings and they don't feel the need to hide them. And sometimes when you're someone that is so comfortable expressing your feelings, you kind of forget if the other person is doing it or not. You know what I mean? And him being a Taurus, I feel like Taurians, they have this quiet kind of confidence, right? Or sometimes they just don't feel the need to express all their feelings. And I worry about Piscean placements too, because they're always putting it all out on the table. And I fear they may reach a point where they feel like they're the only ones that are expressing their feelings. So obviously, I don't know any of their actual entire birth charts. I'm talking about just sun sign astrology here. And even when she was like freaking out, telling him like, hey, why don't you tell me the full truth? Now you're making me feel insecure, blah, 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 blah. He was validating her, but he still wasn't explaining why he did it. You know what I mean? And that's something that maybe we didn't see. That's maybe something that was cut out of the picture, but it gave very much Taurus energy of like, calm down, like it's fine, don't worry about it. And then when more of the truth came out, it was actually around their friends that more of the truth came out, and she freaked out. Because think about it, you find out your partner's lying to you, already your feelings are hurt, right? They validate you, they let you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And then you go out, right? Like that same night that you had the fight, you go out, and then while you're around friends, more of this lie comes out. You know what I mean? And you're just sitting there like, you just validated my feelings and told me it will never happen again. And you accidentally just told on yourself and spilled more of this lie, you know? And that just hurt my feelings for her so much, because she was just like crying, and it just bugged me. Honestly, I feel this way about Taylor and Ashley. We don't know if all the couples are together, but I love both of these women, and I feel like they're both such well-spoken women who, you know, share their feelings very eloquently. And I just don't want either of these men to be playing them. And it's funny because both of them are Venus ruled men, Taurus man, and a Libra man. And, you know, Venusians are really, really good at playing the part and, you know, being lover boys and lover girls. But sometimes if you're their partner, you have those rose-colored glasses on and you don't see the missing pieces in between, you know, their words, because you're very much like, you know, hard eyes and love. And also this is a dating show, you know, so the process is different. The timing of things is different. So I would just hope that no matter who you are, especially on a dating show, you're aware of the fact that people are always going to show you the best part of themselves first. You know, they're not going to show you everything. They're going to paint you the best picture of themselves and who they are. Obviously, they're not going to lead with their shortcomings. And I think that's why these dating shows, especially Love is Blind or Married at First Sight, these ones that can be very, very serious, like engagements, marriage, that's why it can get so messy. Because obviously at the beginning stages of every relationship, everyone is on their best behavior, right? And then slowly more stuff comes out about who they are, how they are, what their exes think of them. I always talk about this. You know the freaking website Rate My Professor? Imagine there was a website called Rate My Ex. You know what I mean? And obviously they need to be validated. Your exes can't just be fucking saying shit and lying on you. But it would be so cool if people can know, you know, your lore, how you are in relationships, have you evolved? You know, are you acting funny? Are you a cheater? Rate My Ex. Someone hit me up. Let's make it happen. All right, you guys, thank you for kicking it with me on Halloween. Happy Halloween. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. I hope you're watching all the scary movies tonight. Comment down below what scary movie you're watching. I love you so, so much. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, don't forget to leave me a review on the app. It really helps me out a lot. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to comment about any of the topics I talked about. I love hearing what you guys have to say. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.